More than 10 years ago, I remember interviewing a high-level Chinese ophthalmologist who did these hand exercises. And they were so intricate the way he was able to move his fingers. And it was clear that, maybe some of his surgical skills went back to these hand practices. I'm curious to know your opinion whether there are certain things to do while you're in a home quarantine or otherwise as a surgeon that can just kind of keep your hands enabled to go back to surgery. So
that's a good question. We have not been having our residents do anything specifically. If you look at the literature, the one thing that literature has been shown to it's been shown to be linked to learning surgical maneuvers more quickly and performing better, at least in a simulated surgical environment, is playing video games. There's something about the hand-eye coordination of playing video games that it's been suggested that helps in surgery faster, and at least people do better on simulations. That's not in ophthalmology, that's in general surgery. To my knowledge, nobody has actually looked into that in ophthalmology, but if there's anything, perhaps play video games, I would say.
There you go. You heard it here, and then maybe we can all do a study on this.
Indeed. And funny you should mention that because I'm sitting here right now playing with a violin bow. While I've been in quarantine, I've taken up violin. It's something to do with my hands.
Well, that's perfect for this talk because that's certainly an art. So when you play, does it are you sounding a bit more melodious, or it's mostly just screeching right now?
Oh, it's getting better and better. I've never played an instrument before, so I'm a complete total novice. But it's getting better and better.
Wow,
Yeah.
fantastic. Well, who knows? Maybe your surgical skills will improve after you're strumming away there.
I don't know if that's true, but I definitely think they help. I think it's much easier for me to learn to play the violin because I'm a surgeon.
There you go. So it's the other way around, actually.
I think so. Yeah, the finger placement, I think, is much aided by just kind of like develop. And I'm sure that if you are already a musician, probably it's quite helpful in the operating room. Although I definitely didn't have that benefit, but just that hand positional awareness.
Right, just like the Chinese ophthalmologist was saying so long ago. One of the themes that we're exploring here this time around is sort of the art of ophthalmology, and I wonder, so much talk again is about COVID-19, but as we start to evolve that discussion, what are some of the arts of ophthalmology right now that are important not to be left behind? Whether that's certain artful techniques that it's good to keep talking about, or other things that you could think of.
I think that at least for young eye surgeons, the biggest concern in their mind, and the greatest art in ophthalmology, is surgical skills. Just any and all surgical skills, and how you stay in touch with surgery when you're not in the operating room as much as you want to be or you need to be. And I think that, rightfully so, there's a lot of anxiety about this. There's a lot of different ways of adapting to it. In some way that we're doing and that a lot of programs are doing is just really making sure that when there are cases going on, our residents and fellows are there every single case in the operating room, so that they are getting exposure to what limited amount of surgery is going on right now. But for our young eye surgeons, that is by and far the biggest concern that they are facing during the COVID pandemic. It's just preserving those surgical skills.
We're all attending ASCRS virtual.
Yep.
That's a creative way that the industry has come together and continued the education. It seems like it's going well so far. And you are part of the committee at ASCRS, Young Eye Surgeons, or YES. Speaking of yes and being more positive than no, when you discuss with your fellow young eye surgeons, how do you guys think that you can bring value to the area that we live in now and get us through these times?
I think that young eye surgeons really have two main strengths going for them right now. Number one, they're just a lot more technologically savvy, I think, in a lot of ways. The younger generation is used to conducting a substantial amount of their social interaction over multimedia platforms.
Okay.
So instead of just a face-to-face interaction, talking to people, communicating via text, communicating via different applications comes very, very naturally. and
Mm.
they're very, very comfortable. The fact that so much of our communication is having to go into the virtual realm, I think that the young eye surgeons have a natural advantage with that. And that familiarity with technology and what technology can do and how it can be applied and tweaked, I think will also help drive innovations that we need for telehealth.
We're in a unique time in the refractive surgery world. What's going on in the field right now? Is everything shut down? Are LASIK surgeries being performed?
So it depends on where you are, at least in the United States, and what the local Department of Health is saying. In California,
Okay.
where I am, they have allowed elective surgeries, but not cosmetic surgeries right now. LASIK and PRK are categorized as cosmetic surgeries, so nobody,
Yeah.
at least to my knowledge, in California is doing true pure refractive. Now, other states, that's not the case. In the last 2 months, I haven't done a lot of surgery, but it's things like perforated corneal ulcers, patients with, a few patients with bilateral count fingers cataracts that
Yeah.
really can't see at all. Uveitis or a couple people with graft versus host disease. That type of thing. And then retinal detachments and glaucoma surgery for urgent uncontrolled pressures. That being said, our surgical volume has dropped off about 95%. Across the board, it's like every service has just been totally knocked out by this. And that's a huge revenue loss, and it's not being made up. My friends that are in private practice, this has been life shattering for them. And then, in a small private practice, a lot of the times your employees are like your family. And
Yeah.
because they haven't been able to see patients and they haven't been able to make money, they haven't been able to pay their employees. They've had to furlough their employees so that their employees can get unemployment benefits. And it's been incredibly tough for them. And, that's the people I know, but that's every private practice across the country has been dealing with that in every specialty. It's the scope of it is mind blowing, really.